So I came across this video on TikTok about this woman who's struggling with dating, right? She's talking about how dating is hard. And when I went on her profile, it reads, I'm just all over the place venting, but I feel like I'm learning and growing up as a person, thanks to therapy. But ultimately, this has led me to give more men the benefit of the doubt, and it's not working, right? And I think we all know why it's not working, right? Because clearly men just don't care anymore, right? Like, you had a time where, obviously when it comes to, dating and relationships, you had men trying to give women what they want and women trying to give what they want, and then they enter into a relationship. But men have gotten to a point where it's just like, all right, it's not working, right? They're looking at the dating market and it's just like, what's the point, right? A lot of these women just aren't worth it. So they're just like, I'm either just like walking away, not dealing with women, or I'm just going to smash and bounce. And obviously for a lot of women, this is building a lot of frustration. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the video, listen to what she has to say, and then I'll share my thoughts.
Hi, I'm in a shitty mood because I'm a 30-year-old trying to date and it's just painful. Did you eat something? Fucker. I'm feeling rather annoyed right now, and whenever I feel annoyed, I feel like I need to pop off on something, and that something is usually TikTok. So I feel like when it comes to dating, I've been very chill and calm when it comes to my old set of standards that I held for myself. I'm like, okay, I need what the fuck? I need really high standards. I have high standards, and I do. But I feel like with dating, I've kind of realized to calm down a little bit in certain areas where I've been so high and mighty and tight with certain things that you need to have. And I've been relaxed on that, and I'm still just not seeing or feeling how I feel like I'm supposed to be feeling, and it's just kind of upsetting because I'm okay, not that I'm lowering my standards, I just feel like I'm opening up a little bit more and growing up, realizing that maybe certain things that I used to think were negatives are actually positives, and I don't know how to navigate it. I'm in this weird limbo of trying to grow, trying to learn, and you know when you make excuses for someone in your head and then you kind of calm yourself down and then you're like, do I need to be making those excuses? I'm just feeling defeated because it's really hard to start over time and time again. And again, when open yourself emotionally up to dating, I don't know.
So you heard what she had to say, right? So when I'm listening to her, right, I'm hearing a woman that's realizing that I'm hearing a woman that's realizing that her standards are keeping her single, right? A lot of these women have these really high standards when it comes to the men that they want to date. And of course they're they want XYZ when it comes with this man. And of course they expect these men to meet these standards. But what they realize is that, their expectations are their standards are way too high. And for a lot of these women, they're just constantly single, waiting for that perfect guy. Because if you look at men, right, we don't want that. We don't need that much from women, right? We just want women that are nice, friendly, fit, and just nice, and right? It's just someone that could be chill to hang out with, right? But then when you ask women what they want when it comes to men, they have this checklist of all these things that they want in a man, and it's where are you getting this checklist from? Where all these things that you want? This man doesn't exist. This man is not, and it's not we're telling women that you should expect a man who's a bum, that doesn't make any money, who has no ambition, that's not doing anything with their life. No one's saying that these are the standards that you should be settling for. Obviously, you want a competent man that's going to get things done and it's going to provide and all that stuff. That's obvious. But you guys have these standards, you're searching for a man that just plainly just doesn't exist. Okay? And that's why you see a lot of these women that's just in constant singleness, and they're just I'm not gonna settle because I deserve XYZ. But in reality, you're always settling because there's always a better man out there, right? And it's crazy because when you look at the comment section, right? And like you said, she's 30 years old, right? So obviously she's approaching that point in life where it's all right, man, I'm getting older, and and the realization is yo, I'm not getting any younger, and your options are gonna dwindle the older you get. But then you look at the comment section and you see a lot of women in their 30s, late 30s, mid to late 30s, and some in their 40s, girl, it's okay, be single. I'm 35, I'm 40, and I've never been happier, right? I'm at peace. I don't have to deal with a man. Yo, don't listen to these women, right? The reason they're at that point because they know it's a wrap for them, right? They know that they're never going to be able to get the man that they want because obviously they've reached that age where the guys that they want are not checking for them, right? They're going younger, right? And the only guys that they said that they qualify for obviously won't meet their standards. And we all know that as women get older, their standards increase, right? For some reason it increases when in reality they should be shrinking those standards because you have less options. right? And it's just so crazy because you hear a lot of these women talking about how they're okay being by themselves and stuff like that. And that's cool if that's what you want to do, then do that, right? But we all know that's a lie, right? We know a lot of these women, they're just bored by themselves. They need men for entertainment, and they don't really understand that. Like, okay, if women are gonna go by themselves, men are gonna go by themselves. Like, men are cool doing that. Men are really good at doing that. I'm not saying that it's good for society, but men are really good at finding things to do on their own. Whether it's playing, some play video games. Some people have hobbies. Some people do other things. Men are really good at doing things by themselves. Like I said, not to say that's good for society. Obviously, we want people together, but if it gets to a point where men and women are just not connecting and finding ways to come to a compromise to work with each other, then what else is there left to do? Especially when it comes to this certain dating market. But then for women, they act like they're good by themselves, that they're happy, they're doing all these things, but we know it's just nonsense, because we know a lot of women these days are miserable, not happy, taking all types of medication to deal with certain type of anxiety and all that stuff, and obviously they're just coping, right, saying they're good all by themselves, when we all know that's just nonsense. But for her, you can hear that when she's talking, like, it's just she's trying to find ways to understand why she's struggling getting the results she gets when it comes to finding the type of man that she wants. And obviously she's starting to, you could see she's starting to realize, it's like, all right, maybe I need to, not lower her standards, but, maybe she needs to, rejigger the standards that she has. Maybe she's like, all right, maybe I don't need this certain type of man, or maybe I don't need this box check when it comes to this type of man. And obviously it's frustrating with her, because she still is not able to understand that, you're getting older. Right, the older you get, the less options you have, right? And the older you get, the less the type of man that you want, you're not able to. You don't. When it comes to supply and demand, you can't demand that type of guy, because you are getting older, okay? And for a lot of these women, they need to come to that understanding. And and I know a lot of these women like to lie to themselves and say, oh, you still have time. Oh, the right guy is out there for you, and they're just waiting forever and ever just to find that guy, and they never do. And then they're 40, and it's just like, yo, what the hell, right? And it's easy to say that, oh yeah, I'm happy by myself, I have peace. But then as you get older, your 30s and 40s, and all you guys, your cats and dogs, it gets to a point where, like, yo, what is the purpose? What is the point? And you start to realize, like, yeah, this is not what I want, and I'm, for some reason, I still haven't figured out that happiness. But look, it is what it is when it comes to the dating market. A lot of people are gonna lie to themselves and say that they're good by themselves, but time will tell, right? As you get older, we'll see how good you are when it gets to a point where, like, you don't have anybody with you, right? And like I said, it is what it is. So those are my thoughts. Interested to hear your thoughts. Make sure you leave a comment down below, hit the like button, share. And if you haven't done so, make sure to subscribe. So you guys, take care. Have a good one. Later.